Welcome, welcome, welcome. Godfather and Gorney. So last time I pointed that way because that's what it looks like, but it's this way. He's there, right there. Can you feel me poking you in the head? Yeah, there he is. We're ready. I'm shot out of a cannon because,
bang.
Yeah, baby. Radical skedaddle. So let's roll. I just ordered 2 more cases of this stuff from Jeff Bezos. And I'm excited. So let's talk recruiting. Let's talk Sage Ryan. Can we talk about how amazing I am for getting that future cast right? Can we talk about that first?
If you want to, sure.
Yeah. So everybody flipped to Alabama because they got the rumor that, there's somebody pushing them to Alabama and they're going to take another Louisiana kid. And I just held firm and I said, listen, this is the Louisiana kid. He's got a lot of family, wants him to go there. I don't think he's going to pull a Landon Collins, make his parents cry, his mom cry. And he chose LSU. Huge for them because their defense stinks. Bo Pelini's system is horrible. And, they're getting embarrassed. So were you surprised at all that he didn't go to Alabama, where it's more of a sure thing that they're going to be consistent?
Well, 2 things. One, there's like this idea that a lot of Louisiana kids go to Alabama, but I researched over the last few recruiting classes and over like the last decade.
Yes.
And it's really just not all that true. I mean,
some good ones.
Hold on, let me pull up the numbers here because it's pretty
throw
stark.
Some names. Ready?
It's pretty stark, the research that I did for this.
Devonta Smith.
Hold on. In 2020, none of the top 12 prospects in the state. In 2019, one of the top 10, but he's already transferred, Ishmael Sopsher. 2018, one of the top 16. So it's not like Alabama's going into Louisiana all the time and getting whoever they want. So the odds were that Sage Ryan was going to go to LSU. But yeah, Devonta Smith is one. Okay, name 5 other ones. Slade Bolden.
5 other ones? Cam Robinson.
Yeah, that was 15 years ago.
I don't know. I'm old. It seemed like 5 years ago to me.
It does feel like 5.
I remember watching him at Under Armour like it seemed 5 years ago and how awkward he looked.
Mm-hmm.
Who's the hybrid? Who's the hybrid defensive end linebacker that they got from the school in Baton Rouge? Well, Dylan Moses is another one, so there.
Dylan Moses.
Same school as him,
though. The Louisiana kid.
Louisiana kid, defensive end, linebacker, hybrid, did really well there. Come on.
Come on. See, there are so few names that no one can even remember them.
Now you're going to annoy me. All right. Well, listen, while we talk about this, I want to ask you a question because I'm going to look it up and find his name now because it's driving me nuts.
Okay.
So I'm going to go to football recruiting. I'm going to go to state rankings. I'm not going to go to 2018 because you've already been there.
No, go to
I think it's like 2016 maybe. So 2016, which you did not research because you failed to go that far back. I'm still waiting for it to come up. I've got a little bit of an issue here.
Yeah.
All right. Nobody.
Yeah. My whole point is that there's this sense that Nick Saban gets into Louisiana all the time. But if you look at the state rankings, especially since Orgeron has been there, he's completely locked down the state.
He does. I mean, he got Shaheem Carter that year, but that wasn't.
Yeah. Here and there, they get a guy.
Anything huge. But I'm trying to remember who that defensive lineman is.
But I mean, really, Alabama does probably better in California and definitely Florida than Louisiana.
Oh, definitely Florida. Not California, though.
I mean, Najee Harris, Jonah Williams, Tommy Brown, Bryce Young.
Yeah. Good. No, you're right. Fedarian Mathis is also a Louisiana kid who's playing for Alabama. Chris Allen is one of the hybrid guys I'm thinking of that they stole from Louisiana.
Yeah.
But he wasn't the good one. I'm never going to find this.
But there was that sense from 2007 to 12 or 13 or something that they would go in and get whoever they wanted. That's kind of ended.
They got Dalen Charlot. He doesn't count. Who the hell is this kid? Tim something. God.
Tim Williams?
Yeah. Damn it.
Yeah.
Why couldn't I remember that? Lawrence Jones. Yeah, some of these guys have been busts.
Yeah.
How long ago was Tim Williams? Jeez.
2014, maybe?
That seems like just yesterday, though. And I'm looking
It
at
does.
2014, and he's
That's
not in there.
scary.
If he can't be 2013, can he? Tim Williams, 2013. Wow.
Wow.
Holy crap, holy.
Isn't that crazy?
That's nuts. All right. So recently, they haven't done as much damage, but they have done damage. I didn't name five guys, but I did come up with some names there. So here's my question to you, and I've asked this before, but now I'm really thinking it might be true. Did we see Joe Brady win the national championship last year?
I know.
Like Gus Malzahn won when Gene Chizik was the head coach?
Or did we see Dave Aranda win it? I mean,
that's a good point. Dave Aranda is a very good coach.
I mean, that defense is it and it's not okay. I understand that they had to replace a lot of guys. I get that, but they have Elias Ricks, who's the best corner on that team, and Derek Stingley on that team, and they have Jacoby Stevens on that secondary, and they got torched. They're getting torched on the back end. Bo Nix threw for 300 yards and 3 touchdowns, I think. I don't know if he's had those numbers the whole rest of the season. That Auburn's offense is not designed to be bombing the ball down the field and doing what you want. And they did it, and it was embarrassing, and it looked horrible.
Well, yeah, and this is also, I mean, Mississippi State scored at will on them. They just looked horrible. And listen, I've never been a big fan of Bo Pelini. He's never been a nice human being to me, anyways. He's right up there with my buddy in Connecticut here, and I don't revel in his lack of success, but I think it's time to make a change. I mean, it's just not working. They changed schemes. They've got talent. They look horrible. They're embarrassing themselves. They could have lost Sage Ryan. They could lose other players. I mean, Corey Foreman, Mason Smith could be looking at this and saying, this is a great opportunity to play early, but man, these guys stink. So
yeah, but what's so weird about Pelini is that everywhere he's ever been, he's been a terrible human being, but a good coach.
Right.
Even at Nebraska.
Oh, yeah. No, he's very good at Nebraska.
Very good.
And I'm all over the map here. So remind me to mention Pelini when we talk Harbaugh.
Okay.
All right. Just remind me. But let's stick with recruiting. Dan Bowie committed to Georgia. Tyrion Ingram Dawkins committed to Georgia. So they're getting hot. Ingram Dawkins is a big kid, not as highly rated as I think others have him, the recruiting service down south. He's more of a tackle. I don't think he can play end, but he's a big kid and he's going to be a run stuffer. Bowie's elite. He's a very, very good corner. Could end up as a 5-star. Why are you creeping closer? Oh, you're scratching your knee?
No, I had to move my phone off of my table to the floor because it was buzzing too much.
It's weird, right?
Yeah. I like Bowie a lot. I think he could be potential 5-star material. We'll see.
A little skinny. But,
a little skinny.
Again, he's young. He's a 2022. What else have we missed in recruiting? There's been a lot going on.
What about A&M getting going into South Florida and getting Yul Keith Brown and Amari Daniels? Yep.
I mean, again, those were trending that way recently, but that just shows you Jimbo and his ability to recruit, not only in his old stomping grounds, but all over the place. I mean, he's really done a good job in the Mid-Atlantic. Now, obviously, he's done a good job in Florida, where he coached. Texas, it's been hit or miss for all of those schools. A lot of people coming in and stealing kids. I think the best program recruiting the state of Texas is Ohio State. And we're going to talk about Quinn Ewers in a second.
I get that, but he got, Kenyon Green, Eric Young, Jalen Jones.
Yeah.
DeMarvin Leal.
Oh, good players, absolutely.
I'm a believer. I'm starting to become a believer in Jimbo. I think the holding 14 notebooks and a file folder with 10 papers and having your glasses on the tip of your nose.
Yeah.
Like having half of a beard and all unshaven. I think that's like starting to work for them. They might, we said this, I think in Fact or Fiction this week, I said they might be the second best team in the SEC.
Yeah, that was a suggested Fact or Fiction, which may or may not make it through the editorial process, which is me, but I liked it. I liked it because, and we're going to talk later, Georgia, Florida. I like that question. And, berating your quarterback after every play is awesome.
Yeah, screaming at him. Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, that always works. But Kellen Mond has really settled in. He's now passed Johnny Manziel as the best passer in the history of Texas A&M football. Probably will go down as the greatest player in Texas A&M football history, as I predicted with his 5-star ranking. But no, Kellen Mond settled down. He's starting to throw more accurately. He's starting to throw a little bit better on the run. He's starting to do the things I expected him to do 2 years ago. I know his freshman year, I didn't expect that, but I expected it 2 years ago and then last year. But he looks really good. Now, again, Aggies don't win.
Part, though, why are his shoulder pads? He's always like this. He's like way up.
He's got high shoulders. He's got traps to his ears. It's a problem.
I don't know what that is. I don't like it.
You can't make fun of genetic stuff, or else we would be making fun of you right now because you're sitting on how many phone books?
Please.
10.
I'm on one chair.
Right. That chair's got to be pretty freaking high. It's like a bar stool.
My feet are dangling like a little kid, like a bar stool.
Give me another drink. But yeah, his shoulders are high, and yeah, we could talk about weird looking players all day long, which is fun. Yeah. I like that. But yeah, he doesn't look like he has arm strength, but he does. He gets zip on the ball. He has
too much of it almost.
Right, and he's so polarizing because there's 0% chance he's going to be good in the NFL, right?
I would think so. Yeah, I don't see him running.
But he's going to go in the second round, and someone might take a first round flyer on him if he plays this way. Listen, we're talking about
no chance.
Okay, ready? Name the quarterbacks we're talking about beyond Trevor Lawrence and Justin Fields.
Okay, here,
North
ready?
Dakota State, right?
Just off the top of my head.
Yeah, go ahead.
Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields.
I know them.
Trey Lance.
Kyle
Trask, Brock Purdy, Spencer Sanders.
Brock Purdy.
Well, he's playing in an offense. They don't even let him throw the ball. He has literally no skill position players. They have to throw to the tight end every single time, or they don't throw the ball. Hold on.
You just went from Lamborghinis to like. You remember that? Was it you and I that had the Prius in Oregon?
Oh, the one where we were possibly going faster than the speed limit?
We were racing the Mustang?
Yeah.
Or did we have the Mustang? We had the Prius, right?
I think we had the Prius.
And we won.
And we won.
Because Daredevil Farrell cut them up.
Zach Wilson at BYU, for sure. Probably a first rounder. Mac Jones. Jamie Newman. Hold on. Now I have my list up. Tanner Morgan.
Oh, awful. Biggest disappointment so far this year is Tanner Morgan. Forget about it.
I will admit that. Admit that.
So these guys you're talking about, right? Beyond Fields, and you're talking about a kid who's played one game this season in Trey Lance, right? Who everybody's in love with because of the measurables. And same thing as Carson Wentz, who absolutely stinks as a quarterback now. And maybe it's the knee injury, maybe it's something else, but he's gotten worse in the NFL. So Trey Lance, I don't really believe in. Kyle Trask, maybe. Mac Jones, maybe. These are very solid quarterbacks, but I don't know if they're first rounders. But why isn't Kellen Mond in the same discussion as those guys? And why are you mentioning guys like Brock Purdy, who are just very, very average and have no athleticism to them whatsoever? You might as well mention Ian Book. Go ahead.
I was just throwing quarterback names that were popping.
Right, but why isn't my guy Mond being mentioned in there? Is it because he's played too much? We've seen too much of him?
No. Yeah, we have seen too much of him. And every deep ball is 10 yards too far. He's probably a second or two late in every big game that he's ever played with the pass. And every time he goes back to pass, you don't know if it's going to be a completion or not. It just does not look smooth and normal and right. And I'm just not a big fan.
I'm just saying that these other quarterbacks aren't exactly lighting up the world. Like when it comes to physical skills. Kellen Mond this year is completing 65% of his passes.
Mm-hmm.
12 touchdowns, only 2 interceptions.
Mm-hmm.
In 5 games, he's thrown for 1,200 yards. Average completion rate is a little low because he throws all slants, but so does Drew Brees. And, he hasn't run. That's the difference. I mean, this year he's got 78 yards rushing, right?
Yeah.
On 28 carries. Last year, he had 500 yards rushing. The year before that, 474. Like, he was running like crazy. Now he's staying in the pocket. He's going through progressions. He's a little bit more patient. His percentage has moved from 51 to 57 to 61 to 64. I'm not saying he's going to be a good NFL quarterback. I don't think he is, because he's very inconsistent, but he has improved greatly. So, let's not.
All right, $50 gift card. If he's a second rounder.
Second rounder, what gift card?
$50
to what?
Anything you choose.
Anything I choose?
If it's legal.
Oh, well, they don't have illegal gift cards, do they?
I don't know.
I gotta check my local massage parlor to see. So I'm gonna hold you that. Second round, $50, right?
Yeah.
Second round or higher, of course. So if he's the last pick in the second round. Now, what do you want me to bet back? Because I'm not
$50 if he goes third or later.
Well, see, that's probably gonna happen. That's a stupid bet.
For you?
I like it that you give it to me if I win, but I don't like giving it to you if I lose, because
that's the trick of betting.
Well, no, I'm not betting that, because I think he's like a third, fourth rounder. So anyways, we've spent a lot of time on him. Let's get back to recruiting. Wow, we're all over the map again.
Quinn Ewers.
You know what I'm going to make you do this time? I'm going to make you go through the minutes, because I have to do that after this every time.
No.
I have to sit and watch us and write down the time of what we talk about. It's horrible. And you haven't done it once. You haven't done it. You think David do that? He's back now.
Sure. I'm busy doing recruiting calls on Sunday afternoons, Mike.
Well, I don't want to do it. What else happened in recruiting? Quinn Ewers. Okay, so we're tracking that midweek. Rumors came around that he was going to flip. I think he's going to go to Ohio State, but he's taking his time now and sort of. But 2 days before that, he says, "I'm 100% committed to Tom Herman. I believe in what he's going to do." And then he decommits, and people are surprised. But everybody lies. That's the way it is. You can't come out and say, "I'm going to decommit in 2 days." So Be ready for it. Just like coaches, when you ask a coach, "Hey, coach, are you interested in that USC job?"
No,
I'm happy where I am.
It's just a dumb question to even ask.
Well, you have to ask. But I've known guys for 20 years that just lie to me right to my face, and that disturbs me a little bit. But once you become a head football coach and make millions and millions of dollars, I become nothing. Just a guy who collects toys and helmets and stuff. So, but Quinn Ewers decommits. That was bad for Tom Herman. The 4-star wide receiver in 2022 decommits the next day. Then they have the game, and if they lost, we're all getting our stories ready that he's going to be fired. And they win. So now Oklahoma has the head-to-head on them, but they still have a chance to win the Big 12 now.
Yeah, and I'm very torn about the Texas football program, and let me tell you why.
Let's hear it.
Let's take the last decade, okay? Texas fans program believes that they're an elite of the elite, one of the best programs, a blue blood, all of the things. In the last 10 years, they have 4 losing seasons. Okay, that's Charlie Strong.
Yeah.
Okay. Three of them are Charlie Strong. One is
prefacing what you're going to say with the one finger.
1 10-win season in the Big 12. One 10-win season in the Big 12.
In the worst Power 5 conference, arguably.
Yes. And that 10-win season came under Tom Herman. And already they want to fire the guy. Okay. So it's almost like Texas is very much like Philadelphia sports. They love to be miserable and complain and always want somebody fired. That's not the way toward a winning program.
It's not just Philly, though. That's New York. That's Boston. It's the Northeast. It's where I live. It's a very negative place.
Right.
So for me to stay positive up here is not easy, but I do. But yeah, so let me ask you this question. Pick the most deranged, delusional fan base that used to win, and I don't know why I do this. It's very feminine.
Yeah, I would stop that.
I can't. All right, I'll throw Texas in here, even though they were in the national title game. What year?
2004.
No. They played Alabama 2010? No, 20.
Oh, when Colt McCoy got it.
Yeah, 2009.
2009, 9 or 10.
It's more recent than like and I don't include Notre Dame because they played for the national title as well. So I'm going to include teams that have won long ago, right? And I'll throw Texas in there too.
I think there are 3 that stand out most to me.
All right. Well, I got 4, I think.
Okay.
So here they are, and I want you to name the most delusional fan base when it comes to expectations. So we've got Tennessee. That's one. Yeah. We got Nebraska. That's another one. We got Miami. Okay.
Oh, that's another one. Yes.
Right. You forgot about them. Michigan and Texas. Give me your order first, and I'll give you my order.
Of most delusion. What are we talking about?
Okay, so the delusion is this. Like, we are so far removed from a national championship, yet we expect one every year. Like, and who has the best chance to get back there? So here, I'll do my 5 first, right? The team with the worst chance of getting back there is Nebraska. Number 1.
Yeah.
So they would be in that category of number 1 most delusional, correct?
Yes. The second most delusional would be Tennessee.
Okay. I'm going to say Michigan is the second most delusional, and we can argue that. So Tennessee, I get it. They're in the SEC. They haven't come close to winning their division or beating Alabama or anybody of note.
Last 10-win season for Tennessee. When do you think it was?
Well, Butch won 9 2 years in a row. So I'm going to say 10 was Philip Fulmer in 2002?
2007. They were 10-4.
Mm-hmm.
And since then, they've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 losing seasons.
Okay. Well, that's a good argument you just made right there, right? And ahead of them is Georgia and Florida, who don't seem to be slowing down at all.
No. And Kentucky
but the chances of Tennessee sliding through the SEC East one year are not as fictional as Michigan winning the Big Ten East.
Ever. See, I think it is, though, because Michigan could beat Penn State and might be able to kind of upset Ohio State if it's a bad weather game, if it's at home, if there were fans, all those kinds of things. Beating Michigan State is a different story, but I think that they could maybe luck into that. The problem Tennessee has is Kentucky just smoked them, embarrassed them. Alabama just embarrassed them. Florida, Georgia.
Right.
South Carolina is going to be a tough game every year. And then they're going to have to beat Alabama to get into the playoff. So True. You can just kind of forget about it.
Yeah, so that's your number 2.
Yeah.
And mine is Michigan, and I'll make my Michigan points now.
Yeah.
That, the division isn't as tough as it used to be. Obviously, it used to be Michigan State was very good, and Penn State was, a threat. And Penn State's still good, but they're 0-2. And Ohio State. But Ohio State is recruiting now at a level even beyond Urban.
Yeah.
And they have a coach who is a much better football game coach. And I know people who go nuts about this in Ryan Day. He's a better coach, period. I don't think he's a better recruiter. I think Ohio State's selling itself, and what Urban did for Ohio State, taking them from, a couple down years in the Tressel situation to national championship was amazing. But Ryan Day is he's like a NASCAR driver who just inherited the fastest car.
Yeah.
And there's no slowing him down whatsoever. Their 2021 class is number 2 in the country. Their 2022 class could be number 1 based on the way things are going right now. And the losses that you're talking about, like Ohio State lost to Michigan State when Urban geniusly in the rain decided Ezekiel Elliott, who, is not very good. He should run the ball 9 times or whatever it was. So
he always tightened up in weird situations.
Stupidity like that is not going to happen under Ryan Day. He's a very, very vindictive and angry coach.
Yes.
So he's not going to just beat Michigan. Now, again, last week I was talking all praise to Michigan. They look great. And now I'm back to crapping on them because that's embarrassing. Rutgers beat Michigan State by 10-plus points. They caused 7 turnovers. Michigan couldn't beat Michigan State at home. Michigan State's not a good football team.
No, they're not good.
And it's an embarrassing loss, and they will not recover from it. So now I think Ohio State's going to blast them by 40. But I get what you're saying. So let's say Ohio State stumbles somehow and Michigan doesn't shoot themselves in the foot. And let's say they don't even have to beat Ohio State straight up to win the East somehow, which is not going to happen. The West isn't exactly loaded with power teams, so they can't get through there. Whereas SEC East, you have to get through Alabama or, an LSU team like last year. So I get it. I'll still put Michigan number 2 because they haven't won anything in forever. This guy's winning 9-10 games. This is Bo Pelini. This is it. It's not good enough. It's not good enough for us. We want somebody to win national championships. Well, you know what? You can't. Your recruiting isn't on the same level as Ohio State. Your play on the field, speed, coaching ability is not on the same level as Ohio State. You're never going to be close to them. I dare say this. Clemson to the ACC will soon be Ohio State to the Big Ten. There will be such a drop-off from Ohio State to the rest of the Big Ten within 5 years that we're going to be talking about it as a joke of a conference, and that Ohio State just goes through a weak conference to get to the playoff every year. What say you to that?
I think that's a little stretch just because of the teams that are still recruiting well in the Big Ten and how they develop them. So Penn State is still going to be very good. After going down quickly 14-0 in that game, Penn State actually outscored Ohio State the rest of the way 26-25. Okay. So that's
I'll make this point though, real quick. Florida State, Miami, these are other programs in the ACC that were also recruiting very well.
Also very true.
And have fallen so far below Clemson that it's not even funny. So maybe 5 years ago, if we said, no way Clemson would distance themselves this way, or maybe 7 years ago, it just can't happen. Look at Florida State. They'll always be there in that division, and Miami will always be good. Nope. So, it can happen. It could drop off so fast.
I think this is the point I want to make, and I think this will be interesting that we could talk about this. But I think over the last 5 years, there's been a change in recruiting, just philosophies. And here's the change. Good players now want to play with other good players. Where in the past it was, well, there's a quarterback there or a running back there. I'll go somewhere else and play and get all my carries and all my catches and everything else somewhere else. And that kind of leveled the playing field. Now, everybody wants to go to Alabama. Everybody wants to go to Clemson. Everybody wants to go to Ohio State. And maybe Oklahoma is in that group. But other than that, people are getting second-tier players for the most part.
Except for Georgia, but they're just not coaching them up.
And Georgia. But just think about like wide receivers. Do you think 10 years ago Alabama could have possibly ever gotten Jerry Jeudy, Devontae Smith, and Jalen Waddle on the same team? There's no way. Those kids would have gone somewhere else because they didn't think they were going to get enough balls.
And Henry Ruggs. Well, I'll tell you the reason for that is it's the NFL draft. It's in April, and kids aren't dumb. They're seeing that Ohio State is putting numerous players over the last 6-7 years into the first round consistently over and over again. Alabama has been doing it for a decade over and over again. Clemson is now doing it consistently probably for the last 4 or 5 years. That's what separates them. And then when you see Georgia, they're not developing those first rounds. Now, yeah, they got Isaiah Wilson went in the first round, and so did Andrew Thomas, but they keep playing on a disappointing level, whereas those other teams are not only producing pros, but winning national championships.
Well, what's got to be so frustrating for Michigan fans is 2 years ago, they had the most people drafted and at the combine, and look what they did, nothing.
Yeah, well, and to me, the numbers are important for depth, but they didn't really have anybody that was
elite. Yeah.
I mean, Taco went in the first round, but that was a horrible pick by my Cowboys because I knew he was just lazy and awful. And, Jabril Peppers went in the first round, and he's already been traded, and he's solid. But none of these guys are like the guy. You know, when you look at the NFL, I mean, Michael Thomas isn't playing, which is frustrating for my fantasy team because he was my first pick. And Jesus, I mean, stop punching people, stop hurting your hamstring, stop hurting your foot. But they see him, they see Julio Jones dominating on Thursday night, and they correlate that to Alabama. They see Minkah Fitzpatrick, making these great plays to save games. And and on and on. So it's kind of like the same teams have the same players, and those are the teams also that win national championships. I mean, when you look at it, Georgia hasn't won a national championship, and you know what? Georgia should be in there. Why didn't I put Georgia in there? As that's just my fault. Georgia should be in the delusional fan base category. They haven't won since what, 1987?
Yeah, but they're on the cusp of winning one, and they should win.
And the only reason I didn't put them in there is because they went to the title game, which is why I don't put Texas in there, which is why I don't put Notre Dame in there. But again, when you talk about winning a national championship, it's Clemson, Ohio State, or Alabama.
Yes.
Who was the last team other than those three that won a national championship? LSU, which now is a one-year wonder. And prior to that was what? Florida State?
Florida State, Auburn. Oh, yeah, that's it, I think.
No bueno. So recruiting, there's less parity in recruiting than there's ever been, which is funny because there should be more parity because of the transfer portal. But the transfer portal has made for less parity as well because they figure, hey, listen, I'm Kyle McCord. If Quinn Ewers commits there, or if Miller or Stroud work out, I can just jump in the portal and I'll find a new home. So I'll just go to Ohio State, take my chances. Whoever's the Ohio State starting quarterback for a year or two is going to be a first-round NFL pick. So let's just do that. But for Texas losing Ewers, they also lost Jalen Milroe because of Ewers. Then they lose Ewers. Everything's falling apart. And then Tom Herman goes out and wins that game because Mike Gundy continually loses games he shouldn't lose. And now we've got this whole limbo situation where Herman could actually win the Big 12, and Texas fans are rooting for him not to because they think it's best. I mean, I talked to some Texas fans. They were hoping he would lose Saturday in a blowout and get fired.
And then they want to hire Urban Meyer.
Well, of course, everybody wants to hire Urban Meyer. But after Urban Meyer, who would it be?
That's a good question.
Joe Brady. That's my guy.
Joe Brady would be an interesting hire.
So I think of Joe Brady at Texas and Joe Brady at Michigan would be very interesting. But these fan bases want these guys fired, and it's fun to write about and stuff. And these guys make millions, so I don't really feel sorry for them at all. If I made millions and someone wrote that I suck every day, I'd be okay with it. People write I suck every day and I don't make millions. So I don't feel sorry for the Franklins and Harbaughs and Hermans of the world.
They're paid millions to win games. That's what they're paid millions to do. And if you don't win games, you don't make the millions.
And could you imagine just like making $9 million a year? And
then failing at my job.
Oh, I don't even care about that.
I
go on Amazon every day. I'm an addict, right?
Oh, right. Good.
And I have to worry about my purchases because they sometimes stack up.
Yeah.
And I've got my little toys here, my collectibles, my helmets that I wear.
Yes.
And we're going to get to Chauncey Gardner and Dan Mullen and all the punching on the field and stuff like that soon because I know your snowflake opinion is going to drive people nuts. But we'll get to that in a second. You're a snowflake. You're an East Coast. You're an East Coast ruffian who moved west and became a snowflake. But we'll get to that in a second.
That's not true at all.
Hold on.
Okay.
Don't make me remind you of Jeremy Pruitt grabbing a face mask. And
if you make $9 million a year.
Yeah.
Okay, that's one person. Another person, let's say, makes $100,000 a year. It would take, which is a nice salary. You could live very comfortably. It would take you 90 years to make what that guy makes in 1 year for being a 7-5, 8-4 for being a football coach.
I could buy any helmet I wanted if I made $9 million a year.
Anyone, you could buy them all.
Anyone that came on my feed, it would be showing up at my door in a week or maybe even less.
Right.
And then I wouldn't have room for it. But you know what? Then I'd build another house.
Yeah, you could just have – all these guys have numerous houses. Too,
or I'd put it on my island that I own too. Right. So yeah, I don't feel bad for these guys at all. I mean, it's a really poor investment to have Jim Harbaugh as your head football coach. It's very poor. If you're looking to win national championships. Now, if you want to win 9-10 games, go to a New Year's Six bowl here and there and lose, great. But,
right.
You shouldn't be getting paid what Dabo and Nick Saban get at all, And James Franklin is now making a ton of money, and he's 0-2. Tom Herman makes a ton of money.
Yeah.
Team. So, but who's next? Like, who would do a better job than Jim Harbaugh is the question I'm always asked. Who would you replace Tom Herman with? And I don't know. I thought Tom Herman was going to be good. I thought Jim Harbaugh was going to be great for Michigan. I don't know. I just know that what they have now is not what they want as far as the fan base. So either the fan base has to lower their expectations, which will never in a million years happen, and the alumni and the donors, or they have to get rid of them. So, it's COVID. We're in a pandemic. No one's going to get fired. Yeah, they will.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Yeah. And I mean, it's not just, it's just unreasonable expectations. I mean, if it's either national championship or bust, everyone's going to be very disappointed in Texas and in Michigan and in a whole lot of other programs because
I cover Boston College up here, right? They had Tom O'Brien who won 9 or 10 games every year for them, and they went to a bowl game every year.
Yeah.
And fans wanted to get rid of him because he couldn't take them to the next level. You're Boston.
You can't do what fans want.
Well, they're unreasonable.
Of course they are. Completely unreasonable.
But back to our delusional, and listen, it's not your fault you're a delusional fan base. It's not your fault because you grew up when Nebraska was kicking everybody's ass and just destroying people. And it was fun.
And half the teams were running the wing tee or something.
And you grew up with Desmond Howard striking the pose and Charles Woodson dominating, and it was fun.
Yes.
And, Miami, you grew up with the camouflage and the 28 first rounders every year. So it's not your fault that these expectations were set so high in your mind because that's what you grew up on. I think Texas is less delusional. I would put them 5th on my delusion list.
Mm-hmm.
They have been to the national championship game, at least in the last 15 years. And the other team on the delusion list besides Miami, Michigan, Tennessee, and Nebraska. Yeah, that was it. So it's not their fault, honestly, but there is a delusion. So let's talk a couple things. Let's talk Dan Mullen.
Okay.
Because this is in Fact or Fiction tomorrow, which is probably today by the time this gets out.
Yes.
I don't know what your answer is. We come up with this Fact or Fiction. I write mine, you write yours, and I see your answer the next day. I don't care what you write. You can agree with me every time.
Right.
I wrote that he did nothing wrong, and I'm positive 1,000. Have you written it yet?
Yes, he absolutely did something wrong.
Yeah, I'm 1,000%. Okay, so what did he do wrong?
Okay, he's 48 years old.
Mm-hmm.
He ran onto a field and was screaming in a ref's face, incited a brawl, encouraged the brawl, did nothing to stop it. As the brawl was happening, was still screaming at the ref, had to be held back by 3 other adult men. After that all calmed down, then came back out and incited the fans, and then showed up to his post-game press conference in a Darth Vader outfit. Now, I ask you, in any other profession, if that happened.
All right. So you're a tax accountant.
Would anyone have a job?
You're going to H&R Block, right? You show up at work at H&R Block.
Yes.
Walk me through it.
Okay. Someone does something in the office that I don't like.
Yep.
I attack that person.
Right.
And then encourage every other coworker to attack that person.
Right.
And they get into a fight.
Yep.
And then the police show up.
Mm-hmm.
And I tell the police to get into the fight.
Yep.
And then they show up to my arraignment in a Halloween outfit.
I love you.
Just because you're on a football field doesn't bar you from the norms of society.
It absolutely does. 1,000%.
Okay.
Now, listen, there's a fine line between the Marty McSorley's, hitting the guy over the head with a stick, Donald Brashear or whatever his name was, and 5 minutes for fighting. Okay, there's a difference. I get it.
Of course there. Yes.
When we talked about the Chauncey Gardner, getting punched in the face, and you said he should be arrested and all this other stuff.
Yes, he should. You are not allowed to walk up to someone who you dislike and punch them in the face. I'm sorry, you're just not allowed to do it. If you're in a grocery store or on a football field.
I think you should be, though.
You should, maybe, but we all have to have this social compact that we're not going to do this.
No, because if I see in this pandemic, if I go to the grocery store, which I don't because I use Instacart, which is great, but if I go to the grocery store and I see some guy out there, right, and he's got a mask on, but it's down below his nose, and he's touching every banana, and he's sniffing them, and I'm waiting to get my bananas,
Yes.
I think I should fully be allowed to go punch that person as hard as I can right in the face.
First of all, you don't eat fruit. We all know that.
I do. I like bananas.
Second of all, then you alert the store security, which would be like a football referee.
Yeah, Big
and
Y.
tell him that he's doing something wrong. If they disagree with you,
Big
you don't
Y.
get to scream at the security in the store.
Big Y doesn't have security at the store.
Well, you go to Big Y. You should go to Super Stop and Shop.
Oh, yeah, they got real security.
All I'm saying is this.
Walmart. I'll go to the greeter, right? The 80-year-old guy who doesn't know where he is.
Yeah, you have to agree to this point. Dan Mullen made a fool of himself. And I think privately, he probably thinks that too. I've been a big Dan Mullen supporter. Mm-hmm. But if you're a grown man, you never in any situation should you have to be held back by 3 other grown men because you want to yell at somebody. And then as your players are throwing punches, especially at Georgia week, when you should just get off the field. It's lowly Missouri. You don't have to worry about it. Just go to the thing. Kyle Trask took a cheap shot. Okay, cheap shots happen all the time in football. It's ridiculous, and it was embarrassing.
I'm going to tell you this. As a head football coach, I'm doing anything and everything to make that locker room strong and united and for them to believe in me, right? So if that's going out there and protecting my quarterback by screaming at the dude who hit him with a cheap shot, or if that's yelling at the officials or looking like a lunatic, or coming back out and trying to get the massive crowd of 12,000 people all fired up. And then, the only thing he did wrong was show up in a Darth Vader suit, because that was just stupid and just,
juvenile,
wacko. Yes. But as far as the on the field stuff, those guys in the locker room were like, Coach has our back. He will fight for us. He cares about us. And that's what I want in my football coach. So Dan Mullen did nothing wrong short of wearing a Darth Vader outfit, which was stupid. So this Mims, right? So earlier in the game, earlier in the game, Chauncey Gardner ripped his chain off. Did you see that?
Yes.
Okay. So he went up to him after he got in the face of somebody. I can't remember who the wide receiver was. I was the dude from Memphis. Anyways, I like him a lot. And he rips the chain off and then he punches him twice in the head. Now, the guy's got a helmet on. Okay. So
stupid move to begin with.
Yeah, but it's not assault. That's like if you're dressed in a suit of armor, me hitting you in the knees with a bat. It's not assault.
Mike.
It's stupidity. It's
okay, so the Twitter mob went after me last night, which I love. I love inciting that. In hockey, when 2 guys fight, okay, I get it. Something happens in the game. There's mano a mano. There's fighting. Okay, I get it. If someone throws a baseball at my head and I charge you and I hit you, okay, that's a fight. It's sports related. This was after a play. Someone just came up to another person and started punching him in the head.
So what should we do to him?
Arrest him.
So Garrett Blunt should have been arrested?
Yes. What happens if someone comes onto the sideline? If someone came from the stands and punched a player in the head, what would have happened to him? He would have been arrested.
From the stands?
Yeah. Or what happened? What should have happened to Ron Artest when he went to the stands in Detroit and started punching people? Some people were arrested. You're not allowed to, just because you're standing on a football field does not mean you get to punch people in the head.
I get your point, but I just feel that 99% of the people that are getting punched in the head deserve it. Chauncey Gardner, as you and I know.
Chauncey Gardner is one who can rile the nerves.
He's a little bit off, right? And I get you can't really go up to him and punch him because he's a little bit off, but
yeah,
he broke a code, and I don't know. I love Dan Mullen for what you did. You look like an absolute fool, but I love it. I love it. I love when coaches lose their stuff. Like, listen, in baseball, these idiots are out there in full baseball uniforms, by the way. When's that ever going to change?
Yeah, I don't get that. That's so strange.
So Sparky Anderson, who's 80 years old, is in a freaking Detroit Tigers uniform.
Jim Leland in a Pittsburgh Pirates outfit is smoking a cigarette in the dugout.
Tony La Russa is going to be wearing a Chicago White Sox uniform at 76 years old, and he's going to come out and he's going to kick dirt onto the umpire's feet. And it's hilarious, and it's great, and I love it, and it's part of the sport of football.
I love that you use Sparky Anderson. He hasn't coached in Detroit since like 1984.
Who? Sparky?
Yeah.
Is Sparky dead?
Oh, I would have to imagine.
No, don't tell me Sparky's dead.
Let me look.
Come on.
I mean, he was kind of tipping the scales there, and when he was managing.
I'm a little old, bro. People don't know
Mike died in 2010.
I missed the service. Shit. Oh, well. Anyhow, I love the theatrics. I really want football coaches to have to put on full pads and uniforms. Wouldn't that be cool?
And this comes back to my what you have to give me an answer on this.
You're glossing over my
father-in-law is an old baseball coach, and I've asked him, and he has no answer.
Who?
My father-in-law.
Oh, all right, whatever.
Why is it that NFL coaches stand on the sidelines and have the play card and don't look up and call a game? And college football coaches have to be held back by get-back coaches and screaming and yelling and acting like...
That's made up. That's wrestling. It's made up.
Yeah.
The get-back coaches, it's the last 5 years.
Right.
And it was invented by Brent Venables, who is a great defensive coordinator, but also got a little bit of Chauncey in him.
Yeah.
You know? And it's all theatrics and it's all part of the rah-rah pomp and circumstance of college football. And it's stupid. I hate it. It's dumb. But you ignored my amazing picture of Nick Saban in a full-on football uniform with a helmet on the sidelines coaching. Can you imagine?
I would like it. I'd like to see. That would be cool.
Name the coach you'd love to see in full uniform more than anybody else.
Hold on. I'm thinking.
And you can't say old coaches like Mark Mangino.
I was going to say Ralph Friedgen.
And Ralph Friedgen. They would be fun and great, but you can't say that because that's just that's low-hanging fruit, bro. I want like today's
you know, who I think could pull it off is Ed Orgeron. I think he'd look like I think he'd look pretty good.
I think Harbaugh would look like he did at Michigan.
Yeah, Harbaugh looks the same.
I want someone who would look horrible and really stupid.
I have a question, though. If they had to wear the helmet, could Harbaugh and Scott Frost have those big dips in their mouth that they have all the time, or would that not fit on the face mask?
No, you can do that.
You could do that still? Okay. I'm thinking of someone who looks horrible. It's weird. It's like, Saturday Night Live guys used to drink and do drugs and party all the time and look like John Belushi. And now they talk about how like they do workouts before and have personal trainers and drink. Think about college football coaches. They're all pretty like healthy looking younger types that kind of move now. I'm trying to go through in my head anybody. Sam Pittman might be a little.
That would be fun. But he'd look like an O-line coach. He'd look like
an O-line coach. Yeah.
So he would look perfect. It'd be fine.
Mac Brown?
That would be fun because he's so old. That's a good one. And Mac's not a big guy. That's a good one. I like that. I'm trying to think of somebody there's got to be somebody out there that would look absolutely tremendously ridiculous, like unbelievably foolishly stupid.
I'm trying to go through the Power Five in my head very quickly.
We're missing somebody, man.
Paul Chryst wouldn't look so hot.
But he would look like a big burly offensive line coach too,
Yeah, that's true.
I want someone who you know what? It could be Nick Saban. He could be the one who looks the most ridiculous. He's a little guy.
Very slender.
Well, how old is he? 69 years old now or something?
69!
Ronnie the limo driver. 68.
He's 71 now, Ronnie.
It could be Saban.
Yeah, Saban turned 69 on Halloween.
I think Gus would look really stupid too. Right?
I guess.
You don't think so?
That's Malzahn fan.
Jimbo would look bad.
Jimbo would look okay.
I don't think so. I don't know. I don't think you'd be able to see his eyes because they're so wide.
Yeah,
could be. You just see the face, like a nose and a mouth.
Manny Diaz doesn't come off as a very big person to me.
No, but he would look cool. You
Look
could
okay.
be, oh, I'm a slot receiver. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, we're just missing somebody. I know we are, but you're right. These guys are in tremendous shape.
They are. Yeah. It's
And
crazy.
I think basketball coaches should have to wear the shorts and the tank, and hockey coaches should definitely wear full pads and gloves and drop the gloves and get in fights during the game and stuff. But I think the funniest thing on earth would be to see the football coaches wearing their full regalia. So I don't know how we got on this topic. I really don't.
Get off of it though.
But Dan Mullen is a leader. He's a man of the people. He's a team guy first, and he knew exactly what he was doing.
You just got fined $25,000.
And he's fine with that. You know what? Yeah. That's fine. Doing it against Missouri was a little bit iffy because you could have lost some players to the first half of the Georgia game. So
he did. Zachary Carter and somebody else.
Yeah, but still, I think Pruitt should have grabbed a face mask. I think Dan Mullen should have incited a riot, and I'm certainly all for punching Chauncey Gardner in the face.
Yeah, that would be third on my list. Pruitt, you can't touch your players, just like a professor at the school can't touch the kid if he didn't do his homework.
You keep comparing him to, like, it's not real world, bro.
He's an employee.
You can't tackle somebody in class either, but you can on the football field.
He's an employee of the university. You do not touch kids. That's it. That's all. You don't grab them by anything. So you can yell at them if you want. If they want to turn away from you, put somebody else in.
The math contest and at the football game, all right, at the football game, you're allowed to tackle somebody, throw them to the ground, try to rip the ball out of their hands. At the math competition, are you allowed to do that?
No, because that's not part of it. But if I'm at the math competition and someone on the other team, they irritate me and I don't like them, I can't go up to them and start punching them in the face.
But tell me how much cooler the math competition would be if you could do that.
I would start watching the National Spelling Bee on TV.
I'm watching for the kids getting nervous and passing out and stuff. I already do watch it because they're so freaked out and nervous. But math, if you could just, if you could pull, what's his name, Wims? If you could pull that in a math competition, I think you got yourself a ratings winner.
Somebody said that he did that because Chauncey Gardner gave him a Pillsbury Doughboy on the play before it.
No. Is there video evidence of that?
I don't know. I would have to go and review the tape, but that's why he did it. Like, that's why that point was perfect, because the play before he gave him the little thing in the...
See, I think I know what a Pillsbury Doughboy is.
No, it's when you stick your finger in another guy's belly button.
Oh, so it's not a Christian Wilkins thing.
No, that's checking the oil.
I got to get my stuff straight. I got a physical coming up in 2 months, so I got to be able to tell my doc what I want and don't want, so I don't want to mess this up.
Do you want the Pillsbury Doughboy? No.
Doc, don't check the oil, but the Doughboy's okay.
All right.
All right. I think we've covered enough because we've gone long. I really like this discussion because it had very little to do with football.
Yeah.
I want to tell you about a documentary I watched the other night that depressed me greatly. And I can't remember the name of it.
Okay,
but it's about global warming.
What about Al Gore, where he said that New York City would be underwater by now?
No. It's not that one. This is by my man, Sir Charles Attenborough. Do you know who that is?
No. I only know Sir Charles Barkley.
So Sir Charles Attenborough, or David Attenborough, sorry, I made that up, Charles. Sir David Attenborough was a big animal guy. He did a huge documentary in the late 70s about animals. He traveled 1.9 million miles to do this documentary. He's been everywhere in the world. And it's about climate change and how the world is going to be. And I'll be dead, so I don't care. How old's your daughter?
3.
She's in big trouble, bro.
See, the I'm going to be dead so I won't care thing, that's not a good way to think about the future of the world. You have to hand it off to the next generation in a better place than you found it.
I don't have kids, so I don't care.
Okay.
My legacy is going to be I'm the idiot at Rivals that puts in future casts and everybody hates. That's my legacy.
Okay, so what is this documentary about?
By the 2030s.
Okay, so 10 years.
The entire Amazon forest and wilderness will be almost deforested entirely.
Clear cut, yeah.
Which is going to really hurt the ability for all these toxic emissions and all this carbon footprint that we're putting out there to be absorbed, because a lot of it's absorbed by trees.
Yeah, they call the Amazon the air conditioner of the world.
Right. Also, by 2040, the ice caps will all melt. And the ice caps are important because they reflect the sun. With the whiteness of the ice caps reflect the sun, and they keep the temperature down. So we've raised 1 degree Celsius since 1970.
Mm-hmm.
Once the polar ice caps are gone, we're going to raise 4 degrees Celsius, and then everything is absolutely going to fall apart and screwed. We will be in the midst by 2100 of a full-blown 6th extinction event.
Okay.
Nighttime viewing. It was very, very uplifting.
Is there any way to reverse this, or is it just going to happen?
I'm going to tell you how to fix it. And I'm going to start with you, Gorney. Ready?
Yes.
I need you to go vegan. Can you do that?
You know what? I think I could go pescatarian, where I would only eat seafood.
Okay. Overfishing is a problem too. It's leading to a huge, huge problem. I can't have you pescatarian. I need you full vegan.
Full vegan?
I need you plant-based foods. I don't care if it's plant-based burgers.
Can I eat Gardein?
Yeah, that's plant-based, right? There's no meat.
Yeah. I've tried some plant-based burgers before, and none of them are there. You could tell that they're pretty disgusting. I mean, if I
for your daughter,
I could guarantee that the earth would be saved.
Yeah, it's for your daughter, bro.
Yeah, but what about the other 7 billion people on the planet?
Well, that's the other thing too. You're not going to have another child, right?
No, there's a strong possibility of that happening.
Oh, see, that's another problem. You got to limit yourself to 1 kid or none. The overpopulation, we had 4 billion people.
This sounds a lot like Red China to me, Mike.
We had 4 billion people in 1950. We got 7.8 billion now, right?
You think this is a problem of the United States or a problem of the developing world?
It's the world, not just you. You know, people in China have to have less kids too. But this is what you can do, is not bring another child into this world so that they suck up all of this. You know, I mean, your kid's going to cut down trees. Your kid's going to melt ice caps. Your kid's going to ruin everything. So don't have a kid. Go vegan, right? Plant a tree. Have you ever planted a tree?
Yes.
All right, plant another one.
Okay.
Right in your front yard.
The problem is you. You live in a big mansion, only 2 people in the house. You need to cut down the size of your house, buddy. That's
not a mansion, first of all. And yes, it's a big house.
You drive a foreign car.
Yep, BMW.
Yep, that's sucking the gas.
Yeah, but I don't care. I have no children. When all this happens, 2030s, I'm going to be hopefully retired on the golf course, laughing at the Amazon.
Yes.
I don't care. I'm just telling you what you can do for your child, or Nick Lucero, who has a newborn, or Dave Barry, or Adam Friedman, who has a newborn. You guys got to start eating vegan. You got to plant trees. You have to go 100% natural when it comes to energy. So get your hybrid, or your full electric car. Go solar on your house. And we have to rewild the country and the world. So we need less farmland, which is taken up mostly by livestock.
And more trees.
Cows roaming the streets of New York City. And we need chickens in downtown Atlanta hanging out. We can't.
It does sound stupid, but it's actually realistic. So much land is taken away by cows that are then slaughtered for meat that killing forests.
Absolutely. I'm telling you, this guy is a genius, and he's 93. He shouldn't care because he's definitely going to be checking out sooner than me, maybe.
Yeah.
But he does. So that's what I'm watching. It's called, for those
now,
of you who want to really get
causing a mass chaos. What happens to this guy? Anything?
It's called Our Planet. What happens to what guy?
A guy who said in 10 years that the Earth is going to be 5 degrees hotter. The ice caps are going to be gone, and the entire Amazon rainforest will be deforested.
What happens to him?
Yeah, if he's causing mass fear and chaos in the world, and he's proven wrong, what happens to him?
Oh, nothing. He'll be dead.
Oh, okay.
He's 93. You know, but like still, I'm just telling you, that's what you got to do. So I finished Ozark, the 3 seasons. Have you watched it?
We tried it in the first season. It wasn't that good.
I was there too. You know, I didn't like some of the characters, but it gets really much better. I would suggest giving it another try. And now I need a series to watch because I don't have anything to watch. So what should I watch?
Bachelorette. Very
saying that I'm not going to watch that. I gave up on that.
Did you watch Big Brother?
No, I didn't. I couldn't get into it. I need something on Netflix, bro. I need something
on Netflix.
Like The Boys I watched, which you should watch. I need something like that. That's like a really good series. I might watch Breaking Bad again because I don't know what else to watch.
Did you watch the Epstein documentary?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't want to go down the documentary rabbit hole though, because you see what happens. I'm telling you to plant trees and eat vegan.
Did you watch The Social Dilemma?
Yeah, I wasn't as impressed by it as everybody else.
Yeah, I don't need my handheld. I can determine what I want my entertainment choices to be.
Facebook's not telling me who to vote for, and they're not dictating. They're dictating my purchases, absolutely, because I fall into that stuff, but they're not dictating my political views. I don't have any. I don't care.
Right.
Well, figure it out by next week. Give me something to watch because I don't want to watch these documentaries anymore. Luckily, in this documentary, there were only a few bad animal scenes. You know, the whaling was bad.
Yeah, I can't watch that.
There was a walrus like genocide thing. I don't
want to see that.
Yeah, but anyways, Sir David Attenborough was very impressive, and he's a smart guy. And you know what? I thought of your kids and our new babies here at Rivals.
Yeah.
And how screwed they are. And, you know, then I went to sleep because I didn't care. Let's say goodbye. At Adam Gorney on Twitter, right?
Yep.
What's your Instagram handle that you never use?
I don't even know. I don't like Instagram. I don't get into it.
I am at Rivals Mike on Twitter. I am at Rivals Godfather on Instagram. I have 28 followers on TikTok. At Rivals Godfather. I am only on Snapchat for completely inappropriate reasons, so don't follow me there.
Are you worrying that TikTok is harvesting your data for the Chinese government, Mike?
I don't care. What data are they going to get, bro?
I don't know.
What are they going to get from me?
I don't know.
Do I have secrets?
Yes.
I mean, I got toys in the background.
What helmet are we doing? Anything?
Yeah, hold on. 2-0, baby.
Nice. 2-0. Oh, that's a nice one. Yeah.
2-0.
Can you believe it?
Second best team in the Big Ten. Coach Allen.
Oh, Mike, would you like to retract your statement that the Big Ten is trying to screw Nebraska after 22 Wisconsin players now have the virus?
No, because they should have let them play the FCS game they wanted to play.
Also very true.
Yeah. So they're trying to screw Nebraska. It's Barry Alvarez. He's the puppet master. But you know who they can't screw?
The Hoosiers.
That's right. That is gorgeous, right?
That is a cool helmet.
Who could I get to sign this? Like, who's a famous Indiana football player? Could I get Gunnar Kiel?
I don't know if he was there long enough to consider him one.
He did commit for a few months. Indiana. There's got to be a good football player that went to Indiana, right?
Hold on.
This is pretty, though. How do you not like these? You know?
Oh, Tevin Coleman is from Indiana.
Tevin Coleman just reactivated by the 49ers. I think it was the 49ers, right?
Dan Feeney, Jordan Howard.
No.
Nate Sudfeld, Ian Thomas. It's a light group. Nick Westbrook.
Yeah, I need somebody famous to break through for Indiana, and so I can get that signed. But that's the one. Do you want to see before we go the last another one of my number one McFarland creations?
Can't wait to see that, Mike.
I want you to name this individual.
Yeah, who's that big dude?
Name him.
Well, put him closer so I can see who it is. Not that close.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to turn him around. There's his helmet. There's the back. This is going to give it away. There are the shoulder pads.
I have no idea.
Former number one player in Rivals. So easy.
Jontrell Henderson.
He was not number one in Rivals. Do you even work for my company? And I say my company. Jontrell Henderson was never number one. He was number one, but he lost it.
Oh.
He lost it
it's only
to
final number ones?
He lost it to Ruben Randall. This guy went on to an All-American career in the ACC and was a first-round draft pick and had a 10-year career between the Lions and the Cowboys.
And the Cowboys. Andre Smith.
Nope. He played running back. Linebacker in high school. But he was a linebacker in college and beyond.
Wait, that's a linebacker stance? That's an offensive lineman stance.
He's ready to tackle somebody.
I have no idea who that is.
Ernie Sims.
Ernie Sims.
North Florida Christian and NFC.
That's I was thinking like the National Football Conference.
Oh.
That is way too big to be Ernie Sims. Ernie Sims was like 5'10", and that guy looks like weighs 300 pounds.
6 foot 230 was Ernie Sims, and that's exactly the proportions. I had it made to specific proportions as well. So there you go. Toys have spoken. Hoosiers 2-0, go Hoosiers, and Ernie Sims. That's it. Goodbye, kids.